How can you assert that nobody would ever see me as a woman when my material experience tells me you're wrong?
You make it so easy for me to dunk on you right now. Like, give me a challenge. For our daily cancellation today, we turn to a woman named Helen Weberly, who calls herself a doctor. On her profile on X, she also describes herself as the hormone expert and an international trans rights advocate. Her advocacy for trans rights includes distributing puberty blockers and hormones to adults and children alike through Gender GP, which is an online gender clinic based in Singapore. From its base in Singapore, this organization, which Helen co-founded, distributes chemical castration drugs to minors across the world. And we'll have more about that organization and the services it offers in a few minutes. But Helen is very upset at me this week because of a video where I am debating a trans-identified male at one of my college talks a couple of years ago. I don't know why Helen is suddenly reacting to this video now, but she is. So before we get to her response, here's a quick clip of the footage that has made poor Helen so upset. Watch.
You've asserted that no one would ever see me as a woman, that nobody would ever see or could see a transgender person as a woman, and yet I have dozens of friends from diverse backgrounds, women from the reservation, a woman from Japan, several immigrant women. I have my coworkers, I have my boss, my VP, my CEO, all respecting me as a woman, my family, my long-term friends who are actually here with me. All of these people assure me, like, I'm a woman. They'll tell me, girl, like, there is no way you are a man. They see me as a woman. So the question,
Okay.
how can you assert woman when my material experience tells me you're wrong?
Okay. It's interesting that that's the part of my talk you chose to ask a question about, because that's not in my talk at all. I don't believe I said that no one would ever see you as a woman. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, that you could fool someone. Now, you brought this up, so I have to tell you that you brought this up. You've put your identity on the table for conversation. And so I'm going to say you wouldn't fool me at all. I mean, I see a man 100%. And I think that most people would. Now, the fact that you have people in your life who are saying to you, oh, you're totally a woman, it's exactly what I'm talking about. No one in my life has ever once said to me, you're totally a man, Matt. You know, if a friend of mine called me on the phone and said, listen, Matt, I want you to know you're really a man, I would think that there was something wrong with him. I would say, why are you saying that at all? It doesn't make any sense. So the fact that this is a conversation to begin with tells me, it only proves the point that I'm trying to make, that your identity, even in your own mind, is up for, it's something that you need to be assured of.
So yeah, very compelling arguments from that individual. The exchange actually goes on for 7 or 8 minutes. I can't play the whole thing, but that's the argument. The argument is, well, how can you say I'm not a woman when I have a friend who's an immigrant and says that I am one? That was, to be honest with you, that's, like I said, that was from 2 years ago. And, I haven't even done a college talk in a while now. People have asked me, like, when are you going to get back out there, start doing these talks again? And I haven't done, I don't think I've done not very many over the last couple of years. And, this, to be honest with you, this is kind of why. Like, it's too easy. I mean, this is it's just people just setting themselves up with the weakest possible arguments. It's so easy that, and yeah, it provides a lot of fodder for, a lib getting owned. But it just, to me, after you've done it enough, you just get the same, like the worst possible arguments framed in the weakest imaginable ways over and over again. I start to get frustrated with them because of how easy it is. You make it so easy for me to dunk on you right now. Like, give me a challenge. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But, that's the part that I just played there that seems to have especially upset our friend Helen, who on Monday shot back with a video that she captioned this way. This broadcast from Matt Walsh is one of the most revolting displays of public humiliation I've seen in a long time. Denying a woman her identity for claps and clicks is disgusting. You're hurting real people for sport. This needs to stop. And here is the video from Helen. Watch.
Hi, Matt. Dr. Helen Weatherly here. I just wanted to send you this brief message to tell you that I think that piece of broadcasting is the most disgusting thing that I have seen in a very long time. To publicly deny that woman her own identity, to publicly humiliate her for your benefit, for your shares and likes and clicks and applause is absolutely revolting.
Okay, well, hello, Helen. Unfortunately, I can't call you a doctor because you lost your medical license last summer. Also, the National Health Service issued a safety alert warning doctors against working with your clinic, saying that it presents an ongoing safety risk. Even the Ministry of Health in Singapore, where you're based, has told you to stop providing services to people in Singapore. So for all intents and purposes, you're as much of a doctor as I am. Being a husband, father, and host of my own show means life never slows down. Imagine trying to eat 31 different fruits and vegetables every day. It sounds miserable and time-consuming. But with Balance of Nature fruits and veggies, there's never been a more convenient dietary supplement to ensure that you get a wide variety of fruits and vegetables every day with 31 different whole fruit and vegetable ingredients. Balance of Nature takes fruits and vegetables, they freeze dry them, turn them into a powder, and then put them in a capsule. You take your fruit and veggie capsules every day, and your body knows what to do with them. Go to balanceofnature.com and use promo code Walsh for 35% off your first order as a preferred customer. Plus, get a free bottle of fiber and spice. That's balanceofnature.com, promo code Walsh. Actually, less, I would argue, because it's better to never have a medical license than to have one and lose it. And you say that the clip of me talking to that dude is the most disgusting thing you've seen in a long time. Well, the most disgusting thing I've seen, or at least the most embarrassing thing I've seen recently, is your entire failed career. All that to say, Helen, I prefer to call people what they are, not what they want to be. And that's why I call you a deranged, disgraced quack who pretends to be a doctor. And it's why I called that man a man. Now, you say that I publicly humiliated a woman. The problem with that claim is, number one, again, he's not a woman. Number two, he came to my event and chose to stand up on camera and ask a question. He presented himself and his personal experience as support for his side of the argument. He entered it into evidence. He chose to make it the focal point of the conversation. I didn't choose that. He did. And this is the game that your side constantly plays. You use anecdotes from your private life as ammunition in a debate, even though personal anecdotes prove nothing. You know, they're irrelevant and unverifiable. The claim that the guy's friends all think he's a woman does nothing at all to prove that he actually is a woman. And even if it did prove that he's a woman, which it doesn't, I have no way of verifying the claim or even knowing if it's true. And then on top of it all, the person who brings up the anecdote from his personal life then becomes offended when you start talking about his personal life. This is the scam. The rule you want us to play is that your side is allowed to use personal experience or lived experience, as you would say, as a cudgel to beat your opponents over the head, but your opponents are not allowed to question, critique, or even discuss the point that you have of your own volition introduced into the conversation. Now, you also say that I denied that woman her identity. Well, for the third time, not a woman. Also, what do you mean by denied? How could I have denied him his identity? So you're not claiming that I denied his identity, which would mean that I am refusing to acknowledge his identity. No, you're saying that I am denying it to him. I am depriving him of his identity somehow. Well, how does that work, Helen? How could I possibly take his identity away? How did I end up in a position to grant or revoke that guy's identity? How did that power end up in my hands? I never claimed to have it. I didn't ask for it. I don't want it. But here's the problem. If your identity is real, if it is objectively true, then it cannot be denied. If that man was actually a woman, I wouldn't be able to take his identity away, even if I wanted to. If that was actually a woman and I stood there and called her a man, then all that would happen is that I end up embarrassing myself. I'm humiliated in that scenario, not the woman. You know, if your identity is true, it does not need to be affirmed or confirmed. You don't need to be reminded of it. You don't need and wouldn't want anyone in your life to reinforce it for you. As I said to the guy, I have never had a single person in my entire life affirm my manhood. Nobody's ever told me that they see me as a man. I've never wondered if anyone sees me that way. I've never asked anyone about it. If they did vocally affirm my manhood, I would think that they were insane. Not because they're wrong, but because, you know, to point at me and call me a man, it's like pointing at a wall and saying, hey, this is a wall. It doesn't need to be said. It's the kind of thing so obvious that you have to be crazy to bother pointing it out. So if I do have the power to deny his female identity, it's only because he has no female identity. But then again, this isn't really about power. You aren't saying that I have the power to deny him his identity. At least that's not what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say is that I have the responsibility, I have the obligation to participate in the charade of his false identity. You're actually accusing me of failing to play along and read the script that you have written. And as far as that goes, you're right. I'm not playing along. I don't accept the obligation that you're trying to saddle me with. I reject it outright. As you've probably noticed, most of the world rejects it. Even most of the Western world has finally woken from its stupor and no longer has any interest in playing this game anymore. We're done with the charade. Some of us have always been done with it. Now, I understand that that's scary for you, Helen. The trans agenda is crumbling. Gender ideology has been exposed. The so-called medical experts like yourself who push this madness have been permanently disgraced. Your career is in shambles. Your organization is discredited. You are a laughingstock. Everybody knows you're a fraud and a fake and a clown. Your entire worldview is a sham. You've lost the argument. You've lost respect. You've even lost your medical license. But you can't turn back now, can you, Helen? You can't admit that everything you said was a lie. You can't admit that, you knowingly harmed countless children by giving them castration drugs. No one believes the lie, but you also can't admit the truth. So you're stuck in limbo. The ship is sinking, but you've tied yourself to the mast. And you secretly hope that somebody will rescue you, but we can't, because you've done this to yourself. And you know something? Even if we could rescue you, we wouldn't. Because you deserve to sink. You deserve to suffer because of what you've done to children. And so we'll all stand on the shoreline and watch. And then when the last bit of the ship disappears below the surface, we will walk away and forget that you ever existed. All that to say, no, I'm not sorry, and I take back nothing that I said. And also, you are, of course, just like your medical license, canceled. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.